Every creature in this universe has its own specific goal, purpose, benefit, and result. No sense of aimlessness, purposelessness, futileness, and wastefulness is seen in any being. It is not possible for mindless and unconscious causes to realize these goals and purposes on their own and to create things based on wisdom. In that case, this situation proves that an existent entity is behind the curtain and that it is he who invents things with wisdom. Volumes of books can be written on the proof of wisdom, because every created being's body bears testimony to the existence of this reason and/or purpose. From this station, we will only look at a mosquito. Actually, a special book can be written on the profundity of a mosquito's body, and in fact, it has already been written. Even if it is only one fragment of the proof or reason, we will only mention one or two characteristics of the mosquito for contemplation. The mosquito has been equipped with an exceptionally sensitive sense of temperature. It can even sense a 1/1000th change in degree of temperature. Since its perception is not dependent on light, the mosquito can even find a blood vessel in a dark room. Once it finds a blood vessel, it chooses a point by means of its proboscis. The mosquito does not pierce the skin with pressure, as is often assumed, but with its top and bottom jaw, which hold the teeth. Like a saw, it cuts the skin through moving backward and forward and inserts its stinger into the blood vessel from the open tear. Its stinger, which resembles an injection syringe, is protected by a casing. During blood absorption, the sheathing is shed from the stinger. A big problem here is the clotting of blood. Nevertheless, by virtue of another reason, the human body has been created with the ability to form blood clots. Thanks to it, a person will not die of blood loss when an area of his or her body bleeds, and the blood will stop leaking by forming a clot at some later point. If the blood was to clot during the mosquito's consumption, then the mosquito would not be nourished. However, the mosquito takes precaution, as it prevents its prey's blood from clotting by infusing a liquid which prevents the blood from clotting into the vessel through the hole that it has pierced. This is the enzyme that causes the itchiness. Now we ask the person who dares to deny God. 1. Even nurses who underwent training for years have not been able to find the blood vessel and have injected a shot into the wrong place many times. Despite this, a mosquito that has never been trained will never lose track of its destined mark. Who has educated the mosquito? 2. If you say that the mosquito is able to do it through its sense of temperature, then we ask, who has equipped it with this highly developed sensor? And beware saying nature, because blind, deaf, lifeless, and unconscious nature cannot be responsible for such a sapient and profound performance, and it cannot possess millions of individuals. 3. As we have said before, this sense of temperature is not connected to light. and the mosquito is able to perceive the change of temperature even at night. If its temperature sensor was dependent on light, then the mosquito would not be able to be nourished at night. And during the day, its prey would notice the mosquito, so it would not be able to be nourished then either. Therefore, end for the mosquito. Who could this craftsman be, who possesses such wisdom, and who designed the mosquito's sense of temperature in a way that is not dependent on light, so that the mosquito can be nourished, and devised it so that it could work at night? 4. There is a covering to protect the mosquito's tiny stinger. Who was this tailor who sewed this casing? 5. To pierce skin. The mosquito uses its jaws and teeth. Who has taught the mosquito to use its jaws and teeth? In fact, even before this, who created its teeth and jaws with such wisdom? 6. Perhaps the most important of all is the injection of the enzyme that prevents clotting into the tear that the mosquito had pierced. First of all, how does the mosquito know about the clotting of blood? Let us suppose that it knows. Then who placed the workbench and the factory that produces this enzyme into their bodies? Only having a workbench is not enough. There must also be a chemist who knows the formula of this enzyme that prevents the clotting. In that case, which school of chemistry did the mosquito complete? Now we have one more proposal for you. Come and accept that the mosquito is a creature of God, and save yourself from the burden of finding answers to these questions.